Alrighty, guys. Thanks for sticking around. And by the way, congratulations on that ESPR. That was a really nice trade, guys. Really nice end of day hit on that one. We were kind of watching, that 39, 30 level is kind of acting as support all day. I love using those areas as possible triggers for shorts. I had that 38.50 area marked as, the next sort of support area that could be an interesting place to cover. So really nice job on that, guys. I did not participate in that. I've had, guys, what I would just say is a really frustrating day. And so let's talk a little bit about that, and I'll cover a few other things. Obviously, guys, I spend most of my day watching PULM. The thing about this is that typically when I do put that much focus into a stock like this, I actually will almost always end up catching that intraday trade. So it definitely was a tough one to leave behind. It really did suck missing that. Very frustrating for me. But that's just the way it goes. And then I decided against trying to play a secondary move on it. Luckily, it didn't go anyway, so glad I didn't try. And I didn't bother shorting it. So pretty much a really just, like I said, I would just call it a frustrating kind of day. But at the same time, it's just sort of the way it goes sometimes, I guess. I didn't see anything else that I was really super interested in, and I knew that, or I thought that, by putting this much focus into one play, I would most likely be able to catch either a late day buy or fade on it. However, that brings me to my next point, which is, I'm a technical trader. I trade basically, in technicals, I trust with my trading. So if there's a buy zone or a buy spot in a stock, I need to take it regardless of what I think I know about the stock. And that's why I don't really pay attention to the fundamental side, is because I'm not owning the stock. I'm just trading it. I'm not investing in it, right? I'm just trading it. I'm just looking to make money on it in short-term moves. So maybe it was kind of damaging for me to know about that ATM, because something inside me was saying, you know what? Don't buy this on that break, because I had it kind of marked like this, guys, on a 5-minute chart. So we were looking at it like, if it breaks this wedge, I'm just going to delete this line. Let's clean this up a little bit. Let's clean this up, and I'll just show you the whole thought process behind it. So we had finally a nice little base there at around 355. I was 100% going to short if we broke that, right? So that was my plan. But I had a second plan that potentially if we broke over the this trend line, which at the time was around 66, kind of changed a little bit since the price action changed, but basically if it broke over that trend line through 66, then we kind of look at it as a possible long setup. And I didn't actually end up getting short, which was good, but I didn't take the long. And like I said, it kind of broke over, and I was watching the price action, and it looked like they were just unloading massive amounts of shares into the offer. Like there was these big offers coming in, right? So I'm thinking like, well, I don't want to get trapped, and I don't want to trap you guys into buying this piece of crap, knowing what we know about it. So maybe I'll just wait and hope that it stuffs. And I thought that if it stuffed, then I would definitely be getting short. So guys, it just resulted in me missing the trade completely, which is really frustrating. But it's not just frustrating for me to have missed the trade. I always feel bad when I miss a trade like that, because I feel like I kind of let you guys down, who are looking at me for a good example to get a good trading going on. But with that all being said, guys, I have to stick to my process. So another thing I wanted to kind of bring up is, because someone mentioned this to me today, they just went live from a demo account to cash account recently, and he said that he finds himself kind of sometimes hesitating on a good setup, but then when he misses the setup, it will get frustrated, then take a less than ideal setup the second time, and that I know all too well. So I wanted to kind of touch on that for a minute, because this is something that I used to struggle with too, and today was a great example of me really not doing that. As much as I wanted to make a big trade today, once it kind of popped over 80, I was like, that's it, way too late for me. The buy was going to be 66. I could have even maybe done 70 or 72, but I could not get my head around 80. Okay, so without another pullback in a setup, which never really happened. So just to kind of touch on that, it's something that I've struggled with before too. And I think that one of the main things that I really hope that you guys get from the screen share, aside from just the discipline, the patience, and everything like that, is the trade planning and the thought process I go through when planning my trades. So there's two things. One is I typically look at both sides of the trade. So if I'm thinking that I might want to get short, then I have a plan for what I'm going to do if one scenario plays out. I'll have a plan for the short side on that scenario, and then I'll have another scenario and a plan for the long side. In this case, I was kind of preferring the short side. I kind of thought that if we ended up buying this descending triangle sort of breakout, we would have to kind of have a wider risk on it, like 55, which kind of widens the risk quite a bit when you're talking about buying in the mid-70s or 80s. That's why it didn't make sense to me in the 80s. But the trade planning. So the thing about, here's the thing, guys. If it's a good setup, and it's a setup that you know that you've seen work, that's worked for me, it works for you, and you have a good risk-reward plan. I kind of talked about this yesterday, but you kind of just got to believe in it and go for it. And it doesn't mean that you have to risk a lot on it. I think that you should risk a small amount on it and show yourself that it's working. And in hindsight, I'm sitting here like, why didn't I even just nibble on this one? Because it wouldn't have been a big deal to have it for me to have 1,000 shares or 500 shares or something, just something in it, right? But another thing that I think is important, and something that I've learned about myself, is that if I miss one good trade, and this is going back to what he was saying, is I want to be really careful that I'm not just taking the second setup because I'm annoyed that I missed the first one. So I kind of just said to myself, look, man, you missed the trade. Of course, I always like to look at the positive side of things, which is, missing a trade is always better than being on the wrong side. Missing a trade is always better than chasing it up here and getting dumped on. So, I was disappointed to have missed some of the opportunities I was looking for today, but at the same time, just look at the glass half full. I definitely, showed some patience and discipline today. I didn't chase any trades, and I'm looking forward to just nailing the next one tomorrow. So, aside from my lack of trades today, I saw a lot of good stuff in the chat room, and a lot of you guys had some nice ideas out there today. So, congratulations to those of you who nailed a few nice trades. And, well, I'll tell you this, guys. I will never let this happen again. This chart is ingrained in my memory. So I'm definitely going to be on this next time. I know how these stocks can behave. We know how well they can squeeze when too many people get on the wrong side of them, on the short side. And it's just a sad miss for me because, again, a really slow day. And usually if I miss the morning trade, I'm going to nail the afternoon trade almost every time. So I guess I'll just leave it at that. I don't really have much else to say about it other than I am a little bit annoyed. Going to shake it off, get some Chinese food, and we'll come back and we'll nail it tomorrow, guys. It's actually still holding up into the close here, so it may give us a trade tomorrow, but I'm hoping we get a few new plays in the morning anyway. So yeah. And once again, guys, ESPR was, that was a really great idea, and I almost jumped on it, and then I had to say to myself, look, man, are you taking this trade because you actually believe that it's a good idea, or because you're annoyed that you missed PULM? And I said, you know what? I am annoyed that I missed PULM, and I'm going to wait till tomorrow to make my trade. So we pretty much have, guys, at least 1 to 3 really good trades per day. Being as selective as I've been lately, that's going to sometimes mean that I might miss the trade. But my ultimate goal, of course, aside from making money in trading, is to make sure that I'm teaching you guys the right habits and you guys are learning things that you can use that are going to last you a lifetime, and the good habits that are going to last you a lifetime. So if I'm setting the example by chasing a stock up through 390, that's just not really helping anybody, and it's not helping myself either. So the only thing I regret from today really is just not playing a signal. And again, this kind of goes back to what I always talk about with me. It's always going to be technicals over fundamentals. If I know too much about a stock, it's going to stop me from making the right decision. Okay? So regardless of what this company, PULM, is doing, or what's on their balance sheets, or what their books are saying, it does not matter to me. All that matters is that this is a descending triangle pattern with lower highs. We got a clear base at 55. Either I'm shorting it through 55 or I'm getting long through 66. There should be no other question in my mind about it. So I totally dropped the ball on that one. And that's that. But I am, again, on the glass half full side, I'm glad I didn't chase the secondary setup. However, I will say this, guys. I actually will show you what would have got me long, and I think you see me play this setup a lot. If it had a dip below 90, like this, and then popped right back up and set up again, I would have got long on that, and I would have been targeting 420. So there was a possibility of a second trade, but I knew that if I bought it anywhere in here, it would be nothing more than an emotional chase, which deservingly would have costed me a loss. So, guys, I guess that's it for the day. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. This morning we had AUPH, which unfortunately didn't quite line up as I was hoping off the open. I had the idea that I was going to look for a 970 target, as you guys know. I'm not sure if anyone traded that or not. I didn't hear anyone say that they did, but I was liking this actually for a morning trade at 970. And so first idea I had was AUPH long, 970 target. I didn't get the trigger though. Like that was just like the hypothetical plan with a proper trigger. This morning price action kind of screwed me up. It just made it very difficult to get any confidence in this one because it started off looking good, and then it had this huge wash, and then it looked like it was holding, and then it washed again, and then it just didn't really set up. So I mean, if it came back and held a higher low and then started to look like it was a feasible setup with a stop that makes sense, I probably would have taken it, but this was a very difficult pattern to play. So not an easy trade. Of course, it played out as per my plan, but I was not in it. Secondly, guys, congratulations, everyone that shorted AUPH. Wow, what an incredible unwind on this today, and just another really good opportunity. This one we will keep on watch tomorrow. 820 is still a huge level on this one, guys. That's the breakout level from our trade on it yesterday. And it looks like around 845 is going to be an important spot. I don't know if this stock is ever going to see over 915 again, but there's 915, which is another one. So, other than that, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. INAP, remember what I talked about yesterday in terms of the using the hourly chart and your daily charts to find resistance levels? Always go back and check what you're buying. So if it looks like it's setting up, just make sure that you're not buying into something that could be a massive resistance. And typically whatever you find, if you find an area like back on the daily chart that was a really big support, like you can see here, and this was February 2016, was a year ago, 13 months ago, you zoom forward and you can see it never tested that level again until today. So sure, maybe it gets through it, but with a level that big, it's going to take some serious volume, and it might take a few tries. So let's take a look at a 15-minute chart really quick, because we will keep this one on watch for a couple days, but it might just need another setup on a bigger time frame. So that's the first try in the 15. It might need to come back. It might need to consolidate for a day or two, and then come in with some nice volume on another day and give that trade. So just remember to always look back on your areas on the chart. PULM is another great example, guys, of the same thing. You can really go back, and some of the same levels that were big time resistances the other day on it were also today like this 375 area. So here's 375. That was the top. Let's go on a 5-minute chart. That was kind of a top on right back here. There's a little bit of a spot there on the 21st. Sorry guys, here it is back here on the 17th. And today it was a perfect resistance, at least for a small correction. So usually if there's a spot like that, a spot that's prior resistance, you can almost suspect that especially if the chart's really extended, that in order to get through it, it's going to need to come back and sort of wind back up again. So come back, build some more, take people sell, and then some new buyers come in and then take it out. But a lot of the same levels we saw that were significant from the other day in this one were again today. And then you can see, like, for example, the breakout level 390 when it broke through 390, it started to support 390. So we had a breakout through, and then it started to hold, and that's where I will potentially get interested in a second trade on it, if I feel like it's perfect. And in this case, given the fact that the chart is extended as it was, it would have just taken that dip under and then a sort of a reset, and then I would have been okay to get long on it. So anyways, glad I dodged that bullet. And ultimately overall, although I'm a little annoyed to have missed the usual, that's like the trade I'll usually take or usually get. It happens, guys. And again, I'm sorry if I talked you out of it. It was really just more or less of a fundamental thing that I normally do not pay attention to, and that's exactly the reason why. So I'm just going to go back to what works for me, which is 100% following the technical signals, and a buy signal is a buy, a sell is a sell. That's what works for me. That's what makes me money. So we'll stick with that. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great night. Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. Cheers.